heaters, and we've got an hour together this evening on this webinar. This is a live webinar broadcast, and we're going to share with you some of our ideas about the three heaters and how they can be treated with shiatsu. And we'll also be talking a little bit about the online course and some CPD days that we've got here in Norwich if you're nearby on the, with the theme of the three heaters. So let's just start. Okay, so we are three heaters in action with myself and Dinah. And with us in the studio, we have Shakura Meddings. And she's going to be engineering this evening. She'll be fielding the questions, but more about that in a moment. And here's a picture of me and a picture of Dinah.
Hello.
Okay, we're going to we're getting still more and more people coming in. We've had a very good response for this webinar. It's the first one of the season. Hooray! Yay. First one of the 2014-15 season, and it's the first time we've done this as well, which is it's a new topic. So let's find out something about you first of all. This is a chance for you to interact with us. One of the ways you can interact is with a poll. So I'll ask Shakura to launch the first poll to find out if this is your first webinar or whether you've done one before. So if you'd just like to check which one or click on which one applies to you. All right, 100% voted. Wow, that was quick. Okay, would you like to publish the results? There we are. So we've got about a fifth of you are, this is your first webinar, so welcome. And everyone else has been to at least one, and 15% of you have been to more than 6. There we are. Welcome back. Welcome back. Fantastic. Okay, so we'll try and make it worth your while to be with us for the next hour. Okay. Okay, so for those of you who haven't done a webinar before, let me just quickly go through some of the features of the webinars and how you can participate. You'll have a control panel, which will look a bit like this. Okay, and there's various ways that you can interact with us. You can submit questions by typing them into the questions box there, a bit like a text message, and Shakura will pick them up and she'll prompt Dinah and I to try and fit the answers in as we go along with the webinar. So that's one of the main reasons that people like to ask questions as we go along. Okay, so you can try that out. And then if you'd like to actually talk to us, we always like that, if that can happen. It's best if you have got a Skype headset or a headset for your computer, because the audio will be so much better. But if you do want to talk to us, you can put your hand up by clicking on the little hand. And then again, we'll try and put you online, and you can have your question answered directly by audio. By default, everyone is muted at the moment, apart from Dinah and I. And the reason for that is because obviously otherwise we'd be getting background noise from all around the world. And so it would be complete chaos. So we start off by muting you, but we can unmute you if we need to, if you'd like to talk to us. Okay, so let's find out something about you. We've got a couple of polls: what you are and where you are. Okay, so let's do the what you are first, and we'll find out the nature of the audience. Here we are. Are you a student, practitioner and teacher, or other therapist, or other? Oh, right. Oh, we haven't got a groupie section. No, that's true, yeah. Okay. Oh, look, 100% voted. Wow, everyone's really on it this time.
Superb.
Look at this. And we've got an other. We've got 7% other. Majority of shiatsu practitioners, okay, a few students and about the same amount of teachers as well. Okay, so that's great. Well, let's see how we get on. Okay, so anyway, you've all participated in polls, so you understand how that works. And we've got another poll a little bit later on. We've also got a practical exercise for you to do, because we always like doing those. We always like to do practical exercises. And the rest of it will be Dinah and I going through the slides and seeing what happens. Okay, so let's see.
I want to know if people who ticked other are in fact people from outer space or aliens.
No, that means they're not therapists. You can always, if you're the other, any of the other category, you can always send us a message via the chat or the question thing, and let us know.
I'm very interested to know.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a quick introduction to the online course.
Aren't we finding out where they are first?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're absolutely right, we are. I'll rewind that. Let's find out where they are. Let's have a look at the geographical distribution.
Oh, look, Isaac. Hello. Lovely.
Oh, it's very much a European one, this one. I know we've definitely got some people from Australia who are interested, but as it's 4:30 in the morning there, they've decided to listen to the recording rather than getting up at 3 in the morning. Okay, so there we are. Most of you are from Europe, with 3% from the Americas. And as I say, I know some of you in other time zones will be listening to this as a recording later on. Okay, great. So let's continue. Yeah, I'll just quickly outline how we're going to structure the online course, and you'll see how that fits in with the webinar. We're going to start off by doing some scanning and palpating the 3 heaters, and we're going to do an exercise with you scanning your own 3 heaters a little bit later on in this webinar, so you get an introduction to that. And then what we do then is we spend a week for each of the heaters, and then in the final week we'll put it all together and we'll look at the 3 heater interactions, because that's probably the most interesting thing about the triple heater, is how it works by interacting the different Zhang-Fu in the body. Okay, why the triple heater? Why are we here? Here are some ideas of why it might be interesting to find out more about the triple heater, which is actually a bit of a mystery and has always been a bit of a mystery in the history of Chinese medicine. Well, one reason is it really takes us deeper into TCM theory, and I think in lots of ways it makes sense, particularly the production of qi and things like that. Dinah's nodding next to me. From a practical point of view, I'm very interested in the triple heater because there are some actual practical implications when we're scanning, when we're working with the body, when we're working with the whole energy system. There are some very practical reasons why we should be interested in tuning into the 3 heaters, and we'll do some more on that later. Understanding of life and qi.
Always useful.
Always useful. Yeah. We'll find out in a minute how the triple heaters really represents a very fundamental aspect of life, and in fact it's very closely connected with how qi is produced. And also I think it gives us a guide for living, because in some ways it's fairly prescriptive. The Chinese texts are quite prescriptive. They tell you what your 3 heaters should be like. They do. And if they're not like that for any reason, which they often aren't, and we're going to find out a little bit more later on when we scan our own 3 heaters, then it's probably a good idea to do something about it. And again, there's guides within Chinese medicine, Qigong, all kinds of resources that we have to make sure those 3 heaters are tuned properly to really give us the best quality of life that we can have. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Steady, steady, go.
From a cosmological point of view, 3 is a very important number, because with the Tao Te Ching, with the Tao, we have yin and yang. That's obviously the empty circle is the 1, and the yin and yang symbol give us the 2. The 3 heaters correspond to 3 major associations. We have the upper heater, which represents our connection with the heavens. Middle heater represents our connection with the earth. And the lower heater gives us human life. And that's from a cosmological point of view, why the three heaters are so important, because what they do is they symbolize in a practical way the connection between heaven and earth and how human life is created as a mixture of those two energies. And I think it's quite exciting, really, from a treatment point of view, because you can actually directly tune into those things, all of those qualities, and work with them directly, as we'll find out in a minute. Okay, so now, after many, many hours researching through the texts, particularly the new edition of Giovanni Maccioccia, which has got a massive section on the three heaters, which we've been poring over, looking at, we found 5 different descriptions of the triple heater. And what we thought we'd do is we'd run a poll and we'll just see which of these 5 descriptions most closely fits your primary understanding of the triple heater. So should we launch that poll and we'll see? Okay, so let's just have a look through. Do you think of the triple heater primarily as one of the Zhang organs, the mobilizer of the original key, or the one key, 3 divisions of the body related to the body cavities, or as a mental emotional link which links with the gallbladder channel, with the wood energy? So what's your primary understanding of it? Let's just see.
Quite a hard poll, I think, because there's going to be some people who think, well, I think it's a bit of this, a bit of that.
I know, it's asking a lot. It's asking a lot, but I thought we'd just try and focus it just to give an idea. Well, this is definitely a bit slower. Everyone's really thinking about this.
It doesn't matter. We don't know who you are, so you can put down whatever you like.
It's anonymous vote.
We won't think differently. Just what comes to your mind when you look at these, which is your sense of the triple heater?
The primary association. Oh, this is very, very interesting. Okay, anyone else like to vote? Or shall we? Oh, yep, still a few more people are still voting. Still voting. Okay, I think that could be it. 94% voted. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, right. Here we go. Do you want to publish those? Yeah, so look at this. We've got the majority of you think of them as 3 divisions of the body, which is probably understandable, really, because from shiatsu point of view, because we're doing body work, we tend to directly feel them, don't we? And then quite a lot of you know your TCM, because you've connected it with the original key.
Very close second.
Very close second, yeah. And then we've got one of the Zhang organs, which again is understandable, because that's, if you think of it Zhang Fu theory, you think of it as that. And it's got, as we'll find out later, what the function of that is. And then the body cavities, which is a very, very interesting function of the triple heaters. We just had 3% on that. And no one put the mental emotional link with the gallbladder and the liver. That's understandable again, because that's kind of a secondary thing. I think you're more likely to do that. So that's very interesting. Okay, well look, let's see what each of these means. Let's see if we can widen our understanding as we go through. Okay. Right, so here are the 5 views of the triple heater. Let's just go through them. We'll just discuss each one in turn briefly, and then we'll look at the three heaters. Okay, so we've got a big table coming up here. Okay, so as part of the 6 yang organs, the most important aspect of understanding the triple heater as part of the 6 yang organs is that it actually has form. It's not just a function, it actually exists. And this is very contentious, and it's been argued through Chinese medicine history. And if you look in Giovanni, he's got plenty of quotes going one way and then the other about this.
Yes, I certainly was taught from an early stage that it's not only mysterious, controversial to this day, but that it has a name but no form. And that was my understanding for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably true of a lot of students and practitioners. You think of it as not actually having a physical form.
Okay, but with this understanding of it as the Zhang organs, we imagine that it has a form, we imagine it does something, and it basically regulates how qi and fluids are regulated. That's what it actually does. It lets out the waste fluids from the lower burner, nutritive qi from the middle burner, and the defensive qi from the lungs, and that's its function.
Yes, letting things through and ensuring free passageway are phrases that I learnt early as being part of its functions. And the three symptoms that I can remember, I think this is probably from the early Giovanni edition, is sneezing, if it doesn't let things out in the upper burner, abdominal distension, if it fails in that function in the middle burner, and retention of urine, if it fails in that function in the lower burner.
Some of this is just maths, isn't it? I mean, you know, we've got 2 arms and 2 legs. We've got 6 channels and just ran out of organs, so they had to kind of make one up. This is the cynic's view of it having form, I suppose, you know. But interesting, I was also reading that pericardium, of course, is really part of the heart anyway. So in the yin organs of the arm, you've got 2 meridians, so essentially one function anyway, you know. So, okay, good. So let's go on a little bit more. Okay, mobilizing the original key. This is a very interesting function of the triple heater, and it's one that we use quite a lot when we do the techniques. And I've done quite a lot of new video for this upcoming online course, and we've done some video, haven't we, just feeling the connection between the key, the original key, and feeling it connect up from the lower burner up into the middle and the upper burners. You know, how you can feel that connection energetically. Sure. You know, so what the triple heater does in this function, and this is more of a functional thing, is basically what it does is it's the sort of catalyst, isn't it, for the production of ki. So what it does is it enables the essence that's stored in the Ming Men to sort of be activated as part of the original ki, which then goes up and activates the digestive system through the spleen yang, and then subsequently produces the ki in the upper burner. Okay, let's see. Let's have a look. Yeah, for Sally Blackman, yeah. Oh yeah, it can also be seen as the endocrine system. Is this the case too? Endocrine system. Well, that's interesting because we're going to go on to that later when we talk about Masnaga. Yeah, I mean the function. It's usually more related to the lymphatic system, really. Yeah, because it's more to do with protecting the body. It's more to do with the protective body. Usually, the kidney meridian is the one that's usually associated with the endocrine system, isn't it? Well, certainly that's what Masnaga did. Yeah.
It's endocrine is definitely kidney related. But my understanding, an early understanding of mine was that its job includes harmonizing the interaction of the 3 burning spaces and allowing the original ki to come out into the meridians. So a strong link with the source points, where the source ki or original ki comes into the meridians, but also when it fails in that function, it's difficult for the person to really get a sense of who they are. See what I mean? A sense of self.
That's more the fire element, isn't it? It's to do with the Shen, isn't it? The consciousness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's about bringing that original ki out into the expression of the meridian pathways.
Yeah. Okay, so here we are. We have the 3 divisions of the body, and this was a popular choice. This was the biggest choice in the poll we had, and this is, you may have heard this before. Basically, you've got the 3 divisions of the body, and you've got 3 different physiological processes, which actually does connect quite closely with the mobilizing the original ki, really, doesn't it? Because it's basically the place where these different processes occur. And this is where we start to get an idea of the more prescriptive nature of TCM, in the sense that it tells you metaphorically what it should be like, you know. Although notice that, especially with the lower burner, at this stage in this model, it's mainly seen as a elimination function. So but
this is the model that really is relating to the metabolism of fluids, isn't it? Rather than ki, rather than chi, rather than the original chi. This is fluids in the upper burner are supposed to be like a mist. Fluids in the middle burner are supposed to be like a bubbling cauldron or a maceration chamber or churning foam. And fluids in the lower burner are meant to be like a drainage ditch. So this is all really, we've put 3 divisions of the body, but specifically it's linked to the metabolism of fluids.
It is, exactly, yeah. And when we're tuning into that, I've been thinking a lot about this in terms of scanning. I think sometimes what happens is when you scan either yourself, which we'll do in a minute, or your clients, depending on what's the most dominant in their field, sometimes you will pick that up. Sometimes you'll pick up that physiological process of fluid metabolism, and other times you won't. Other times you'll be more attracted to other functions, because like a mist is really mainly associated with the lungs, isn't it? It's the moistening of the lungs, the descending function of the lungs. I suppose the maceration chamber does introduce the idea of the bubbling cauldron. It gives you the idea of qi being formed there, postnatal qi being formed. But certainly a drainage ditch is supposed to be a sort of like a clear, appropriate flow of, waste products and stuff like that. So it's interesting because I've thought a lot about this in terms of scanning and assessing the three burners in practice.
So it's quite a contrast between the idea of something draining out and something being stored. And
it is.
The lower burners, of course, associated with storage of essence.
But I was thinking of clients. I was thinking of a particular category of client, like for example, if you have something like cystitis or a bladder infection, especially a severe one, where you can feel like a heavy feeling in the lower burner, and quite often you can feel the heat. Now that would be a case where the drainage ditch is not working, and you'd be using meridians and points to get that flow, wouldn't you, of the liquids going through. Whereas another time, if you had someone who's like chronically weak or depleted in energy, you might feel a lack of energy there, and you might actually want that to be warmer and fuller, but you don't want it to be warm and full in a sort of damp hot way. you want it to be warm and full in a sort of in a original key kind of way. Yeah, exactly. So it all depends on what you're doing and why, and what the most dominant thing is. Okay, here we go. We've got body cavities now. Now this is an interesting one, because in the newest edition of Giovanni, and also in the book that you've just been reading, I think.
Yeah, The Spark in the Machine. I'll tell you more about that later, but it's written by a doctor who's also an acupuncturist. And he links the triple heater specifically with the fascia, or fascia, some of you call it, the fascia, which is a form of connective tissue that wraps everything in the body. All the organs, all the muscles, everything is wrapped with fascia. And the triple heater, it forms the interior landscape and planes of the body, used by surgeons, as he talks about, but also it's where the triple heater flows, and where its function happens is along the planes of the fascia throughout the body. So, and that's also what you've just been reading in Giovanni's.
Yes, the new edition goes into fascia quite deeply with this particular function, because it talks about the body cavities, it talks about the joints, it talks about all the body cavities, and also goes into quite a lot of detail about the fact that the internal organs aren't all floating about in a vacuum, that they're actually all wrapped,
all wrapped up. Yep.
And the triple heater is interesting like that, because it is to do with connection. The main function of it is connecting. It's connecting everything up. And also another interesting thing I thought about is it's also very much connected with fluids, isn't it? And that makes me think also about the liquid crystal structure of the connective tissue.
Yeah.
The fact that that it is really just water, in highly organized form of water. So there's lots of different links there that I think are interesting, that are emerging from the reading of the classics. Because if you look at the quotes that Giovanni has about the so-called cavities, a lot of these descriptions really fit the connective tissue more than anything else. It's interesting, really interesting. Okay, and then finally we've got mental emotional connection. The reason we've got this is through the lesser yang channels, and that's if you know your teddy bear, your
6 divisions.
The 6 divisions. If you know your teddy bear,
it's more commonly called.
Yeah, the 6 divisions. You'll notice that the triple heater meridian is on the outside of the arms, and the gallbladder is on the outside of the legs, and that means they've got a special connection. And there's quite a lot of interesting parallels between the triple heater emotional function, which is to do with relationships, free flowing of interaction with people, and the gallbladder and liver, which is more to do with, as you know, with internal movement of energy. So they kind of work together in terms of allowing you to have successful relationships and allow you to allow your emotions to move smoothly and to flow, so that they don't become stuck and become moods, things that stay with you.
And that reflects back that original translation of the function, I can't remember the Chinese word, chong or something, of the function of the triple heater to let things through, to ensure free passageway. And so this links with the free passageway of your emotions in that circumstance, Cliff?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. So there we are. There's the 5 main views of the triple heater, and you see quite a lot of them overlap, and quite a lot of them have direct implications for treatment. Well, I think all of them do. Now I look at them, actually,
yes,
all of them do. All of them have. I suppose the only thing we haven't mentioned, which links with the 6 yang organs, is the fact that there is actually, of course, a triple heater pathway, or a Sanjiao pathway, in the arm. But we were talking about this earlier, actually. Although it's obviously it's the triple heater meridian, when we're actually working the 3 heaters as a functional thing, quite often we're not really using that pathway, are we? We're using the actual 3 heaters direct. We're using the conception vessel. We're using meridians related to the organs in the 3 heaters, if you see what I mean.
Much more. And in fact, although, yes, this book that I referred to earlier, The Spark in the Machine, the doctor who wrote it, he equates the triple heater with the Tao, or God, if you like, because of the significance of its role in facilitating the movement of qi throughout the whole body via the facial planes. But in TCM terms, traditionally, almost all the points on the triple heater meridian are actually just used for things like earache and stiff neck and wrist problems, whatever. They're mostly for invasion of external pernicious influences, apart from triple heater 10, which is used for depression and mood swings. But otherwise, they're almost all very physical.
Mainly channel related, aren't they?
Channel related, yeah, the actual classical pathway.
Yeah. Okay, time for us to do something. Let's just see. Yeah, practical exercise. I thought so. Okay, I thought this. So if you haven't already got a piece of paper and a pencil, maybe you could just run and get one. Get a note. We'll just give you a second to do that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you on a meditation, and we're going to feel or tune or scan into our 3 heaters. Okay, has everyone got their pens and pencils ready in the office here? Yes?
Yeah.
They have. Everyone's here. We're all going to do it. Okay, I wonder if you'll do it standing up. I think we should do it standing up, just for a bit of variety, actually. Just get away from the screen a bit. Okay, so if you'd like to stand up. Okay, now we're not going to do any sort of qigong or anything like that, because we want to try and capture ourselves as we actually are. Okay, so just stand as normally as you can. Okay, and now we're going to tune into the 3 heaters, and we're going to do it by tuning into the space of the heaters and get a feeling for the energy of those 3 areas. Okay, and also I'll just point out a very important anatomical feature as well as we go down. So first of all, the upper heater, that's obviously the lungs, the whole thoracic cavity, and you've got the heart and the pericardium in there. So first of all, just relax and tune in and see what it feels like. What does your upper heater feel like? Okay, now take that feeling, turn it into an image. Okay, and then on your piece of paper, I'd like you to draw that feeling in the upper area. Don't forget, you're going to have to draw 3 things, so leave yourself plenty of room. Okay, just see what it feels like. Okay. So just draw the feeling of the upper heater. Okay, ready? Yeah? Okay, we're already here. Okay, so now we're going to go back into the standing position again. Tune into the upper heater again. Right, so now this is a really important anatomical, that's the diaphragm. So let's first of all tune into the diaphragm and see how your diaphragm feels. That's the border between the upper and the middle heater. Okay, so just get a feeling for that, and then we're going to take our consciousness down a bit lower, and we're going to tune into the middle heater. Now the middle heater includes the stomach, the spleen area of the hara, which is anatomically the small intestine, but it's the center of the hara. It's basically the whole upper part of the abdomen. If you draw a line roughly at where your navel is, between there and the diaphragm, that will be the middle heater. Okay, so just tune into that feeling and just get a sense of what that's like. Okay, good. Now, so turn that into an image, get a picture of the diaphragm and a picture of the upper, the middle heater, the upper part of the abdomen. And if you go to your piece of paper, I want you to draw the diaphragm in the feeling of the diaphragm, like an abstract drawing. Okay, right, so that's the middle heater. And we're going to go back into our meditation again. Okay, so we checked out the upper heater, middle heater. Okay, so now we're going to go for the lower heater. So that's basically from a line around the navel down into the lower part of the abdomen. Don't forget to go right down to the pelvic floor and right back with your awareness right into the sacrum. So it's a bit like a bowl. And we're just going to tune in and see what that feels like. Okay, right, so now just turn that into an image and draw that picture.
Superb. What a contrast.
Right, I feel like we ought to offer some sort of solution now, especially looking at my drawing. Because what it should be like is this. Okay, the upper burner should be like a mist, so it should be kind of cool. Well, it should be cool and kind of moist and quite a spacious feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're tuning into the heart more, my feeling is it should be a stable kind of.
Oh my gosh, Cliff, I've got exactly the same picture, like that spacious with the lines going out and then a nice warm blob in the middle.
All right, that's
Where my
good.
heart
Yeah,
is.
that's good. There we are, you see. And then we've got the diaphragm should be open and relaxed. And that's one of the things that's often very, very tense. I mean, I've got several clients that have real problems with tension in the diaphragm. And we've got quite a lot of techniques in the online course to help with that. And then we've got the middle heater. Now that should be nice and active, but not too active.
Depends on whether you've had your dinner.
Yeah.
Is that all your Jaffa cakes, Dinah?
Yeah, that's my bubbles. They're bubbles in mine.
I mean, basically, it should be quite a relaxed sort of feeling. That's the thing. That's the thing. It should be relaxed, and that's where a lot of people hold a lot of tension. My experience, anyway. You know. And then the lower heater, if you're thinking about a drainage ditch, it should feel nice and irrigated and cool, but it should also feel quite strong as well. Quite a strong sort of feeling.
Pathetic. Sparse fire is what
Mine felt spacious, but just a bit too spacious.
Yep, mine's too sparse
Yeah.
fire.
A bit too spacious. For my
Okay.
liking.
Mine's too yin deficient.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So if anyone's got any comments about their own drawings and how your own experience of your three heaters either matches or differs from the so-called ideal, please just type them into the question box and we'll read some of them out. Or you can put your hand up if you like and tell us about your drawing. Okay, there we go. And so that will in fact be one of the exercises, an audio exercise in the first week, and we'll extend that to tuning and scanning our clients. Okay. Because you can actually use the three heaters as a basis for treatment, and I do that a lot. Actually, it's one of the main things I check for when I'm checking. Yep. And you can either check it in the body itself, either visually in the body, like literally the lungs, or you can actually use the hara. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but the hara itself is kind of like a little model of the three heaters. You've got the heart protector. You've got the lungs a little bit to the side, but if you imagine the lungs and the heart protector being one form, the upper heater, then you've got the stomach, spleen area, liver and gallbladder to a lesser extent, but you've got the spleen right in the middle, and then you've got the kidney and bladder, which is basically essentially the lower heater, and then you've got large intestine as well, and small intestine. So if you think of the hara, you've actually got the most clear example of that is heart protector, upper heater, spleen, middle heater, and then kidney and bladder, lower heater. Right, okay, let's have a look at some of the posts that we've got here.
Yeah, so Lee Willicks, did you see that one? Images that came to mind were much more physical and abstract for me.
Yeah. Oh, he's got...
Burner was a cup of fizzing liquid.
Liquid, whoa. The middle was a slow-moving river, and the lower was like a whirlpool. That's interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, that's metaphorical. That's actually a metaphorical set of metaphorical images, by the way. If you see them, if you see you experience them like that, that's a metaphor. Let's see what else we've got. Alpha diagonal. Diaphragm like a tree or a spread palm of hand. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, okay. Jack in the box, upper burner. Wow, that's interesting.
Oh, wow. Oh look, Lee, you are a girl. Congratulations.
Oh, Lee. Yeah, sorry, she. Yeah, sorry. Yes. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, what else we got here? Jack in the box, upper burner. That's definitely could do with more yin, I would say. Yeah.
I would say.
More yin in the fire element, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Middle burner was like a flame blown to one side. Could be a little bit too much spleen yang going on there. You probably need to have a little bit cool down. That's probably a little bit. Depends really how big the flame is, isn't it? You want it to be warm, but not too hot. Jack in the box from the upper burner, I think that would definitely need some sort of attention. And the diaphragm, like a tree or a spreading palm of hand, that's a nice image, isn't it? I think it depends again on the tree. If the trees are sort of nice, flexible sapling, that could be fine.
We want movement through that.
You want movement
through that tree, though, don't we?
Really do.
I suppose the raindrops dropping down through the leaves.
That's one thing that I really always check for is a diaphragm release. Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, another interesting thing is that, of course, the triple heater U point is really quite near the diaphragm on the back.
That's true.
Yeah.
A bit lower.
A little bit lower, but it's in the area of where you can tune into it.
Connect with the diaphragm. Yeah.
I notice with clients often if they get really chronic like tightness in the diaphragm, you'll often get like compression in the lower thoracic spine. So anyway, we've got some techniques we videoed for that later on. Lower burner, damp and squelchy like a muddy swamp.
Really?
The lower burner like a lumpy mass with two vertical lines coming together at the top. That's interesting. I wonder what that is then. Wide pond, lower burner with drips coming off an overhanging cliff. That sounds pretty good. That sounds quite calm with doing. Yeah. Right, interesting. Yeah, great. Well, just keep them coming in and we'll read them as we go along. Okay, now how are we doing? Oh yeah, we've got just over 15 minutes left, so let's see. Oh look, there we are. Okay, so let's just, now that we've actually experienced our upper heater, let's just have a quickly just think about what they should feel like and why. Okay, first of all, it gives us the connection with heavens, and that's symbolized by the breath coming in. And the idea is the breath comes into the upper heater and it descends down into the lower part of the body and the extremities. It's another really interesting thing to watch for. And that's why I often ask my clients to just take a deep breath in, breathe out. Watch where the breath goes. That gives you a really good idea of the upper heater. Okay, how mist-like was your upper heater? Mine was definitely a little bit too hot. In fact, I've drawn hot with an arrow on it.
No, mine was quite misty, but I've got a lot of tension in my upper back, so I've got this funny line behind.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
On a muscular level, but the actual upper heater felt quite nice, quite spacious and open and moving. I didn't really think of mist.
No, well, that's really good, yeah.
Yeah, it felt nice though.
And the other thing to watch out for, of course, in the upper heater, of course, is the heart, because that's related to the shen and obviously the blood, which are connected in Chinese medicine. So when we're tuning into the upper heater and we're focusing more on the heart, what we're looking for is something quite a solid, calm kind of feeling, and that is the heart blood or the heart yin, and that's what you need to keep yourself calm. And lots of the points on the heart meridian and the heart protector meridian are to do exactly that. And so tuning into that feeling is really important. And
actually, you'll find it's really easy, I think, myself anyway, it's one of the easiest things to pick up when you do a body scan. If you tune into the heart area, if there's any disturbance or agitation, it's very easy to resonate with. I think, you know, if you're not confident or practiced with scanning, it's a good area to practice with because it's so accessible. You know, I think naturally because of our humanness, we tend to resonate easily on that level, and you'll often pick up clear images of disturbance or the opposite, you know, the happy, smiling apple tree. I can remember a student once drawing an apple tree, and it's always stayed with me, that image. But the heart should feel calm and steady, and if they're disturbed, you'll often feel how it's not.
Yeah. And also the lungs are good in terms of direct experience of the chi, aren't they, as well? Tuning in through lung one, you can often really feel the chi descending and coming in, and the clients often take deep breaths when you get those points.
Absolutely, yeah. They're very accessible somehow to working with on an energetic level.
I think it's because they respond so quickly, like the heartbeat will calm down and the breathing will change. It's something that you can really feel and see often, isn't it? Oh look, I thought I'd just throw this in. This is a little peek at the notes. Yes, this is the notes for week 2, which is the upper heater, and you can see how we've basically separated it up. So you've got the qi, which is related to the lungs, and you've got the blood and the shen related more to the heart. Exactly what we've been talking about. And this is just going into a little bit more detail with the theory. And what it does here, look, you notice I put the diaphragm in there as an important, you know, barrier. And then we've got the process of qi formation and blood formation being supported by the Jing and the Mingmen and the post-heaven qi in the spleen underneath. So it's sort of linking it all up. So what we'll do is we'll focus in more detail each week on each of the burners in turn. Okay, so moving on to the middle heater. Remember what that felt like when we did the scan? Mine was a little bit too hot, I think, personally. What was yours like, Dinah? Yours looks quite good, actually.
Mostly bubbly.
Bubbly, yeah. Fairly bubbly. Okay. Right, this gives us the connection to Earth, obviously, because the food comes in. The breath is supposed to come from the heavens, and the food comes from the Earth. Okay. And it's like a bubbling chamber. So what you want it to be like is quite warm, not too hot, though. Otherwise, you'll get energy going up through the stomach channel, vomiting or burping or hiatus hernia, any of those symptoms.
Bad breath.
Bad breath. Yeah. You don't want it too hot, and you don't want it too cold, because if it's too cold, then nothing's going to happen and it won't bubble away properly, and you'll get digestive problems. One of the main things you get these days with the stressful lives is you'll get problems with, say, the liver invading the spleen. You get disturbances, don't you, in the middle heater. Okay, the spleen, yang, that's the warmth, transforms the food and the fluids, and that's what you want. Just a nice transformation, nice bubbling cauldron. And the liver is really important for the smooth flow. Now, some people will put the liver in the lower heater, but I personally prefer to have it in the middle heater myself.
Yep, me too.
Because I think it's so important in terms of the free flow of energy in the digestive process. So I don't know what you think about that, Dinah.
I'm also, I mean, I know traditionally it's often put in the lower burner, and it does have a strong influence there because it has such a universal influence anyway, because of its function of smooth distribution of qi as well as storage and release of blood. So it's arguable, but myself, I find it, I feel more comfortable with having it in the middle heater because of that relationship with stomach and spleen and digestion, as well as smooth flow of emotions and whatever.
And its anatomical location, for me, it just seems to fit there.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it does flow through the pelvic floor and all of that. It has a lot of relationships with a lower burner, but hey, I think, you know, you can be a bit flexible, as the Chinese medicine tradition is. You know, you be flexible as required according to what you're picking up from your clients in reality, in practice.
Okay, so here we are, the lower heater. As we said, it's like a drainage ditch. We tend to think of drainage ditches as being a bit smelly and stagnant, but their image of it, the Chinese image, is, because it's an agrarian society, and drainage ditches are really important, aren't they? You want them to be clear and flowing. Yeah. From an energetic point, it gives us a connection with our humanity, with our awareness, and with our actual human beingness, because we're the combination, as mentioned before, the three, we're the combination between the earth and the heavens. Of course, the lower heater stores the jing, which is really, really important. That turns into the original qi, and it literally fires up the whole process. And then we've got the waste product, of course, from food and drink. So we've got those two functions that we mentioned earlier. And I think if you look at your scan, you'll probably be able to figure out whether it's whether you've been more dominated by more the urinary. If you tune in more to the bowels and to the urinary system, maybe then you'll tune more into that function. If it's more of a general feeling of the root of your energy, then that's more the jing and the connection with the qi. So again, it varies with clients. It varies what you pick up when you do that. Okay, and then in week 5 we put it together, and as you can see, the main thing about the triple heater is we've got 5 different interlocking models. They all give us something different, but interlocking in terms of understanding the 3 heaters. We'll be going back, scanning, palpating the 3 heaters. We're revisiting week 1, putting it into case histories, and we'll be looking at how we can design a session based on that, because unusually, in a way, the 3 heaters definitely there's definitely a prescriptive aspect to it. In other words, if it doesn't feel like it should, it's good to do something about it. Yeah.
And sometimes you'll find that if there is an imbalance in one particular burning space, that you'll get a kind of clumping of symptoms that all relate to that area, and you're thinking that this isn't really limited, this isn't just lung, or it isn't just heart, or, you know, whichever one it is, and then that might flag up to you that actually this is a triple heater problem, because the whole of the burning space isn't harmonized as it should be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and of course you've got your regular HARA diagnosis anyway, and of course you've got all different combinations of that, and you can then interpret that in terms of what's happening with the 3 burners. Okay, I thought we'd just mention Masnaga and 3 heaters. Let's have a look at this classic diagram of Masnagas, and you can see the small yang. Just in case you didn't quite get the 6 division link that Dinah and I mentioned earlier, if you look down at the gallbladder and triple heater sections of this chart, you can see they're both small yang, lesser yang. And look at just remind yourself of the function. So we've got circulation protection, we've got this terminal circulation. That's what we were talking about earlier about Masnaga linking it more with the lymphatic system because it's a protective function, and it also relates to the circulation of fluids like the lymph.
Yeah, and the lymphatic system. And when it says terminal circulation, those of you who are not familiar with this, that means peripheral, means on the outside as opposed to deep. So it's more the shallower vessels, blood vessels, and the lymphatic system more on the surface.
And that links also to get with temperature regulation, doesn't it? How you're,
Yes,
the capillaries open.
That's another of the roles actually that we haven't mentioned anywhere along the way, is that famously the triple heater is also in charge of temperature regulation, sometimes described as the body's thermostat, and that's to do with its role of harmonizing the interaction of the 3 burners, the 3 burning spaces, the warming spaces of the body. And also notice, if you remember your Chinese clock, any of you, it's the time associated with the triple heater is the time of the transition from day to night, basically. And so that's significant in terms of temperature control, time to get your blanket out or light the fire or gather around and socialize by the fire, whatever, all that stuff. All that 5 elementy stuff.
Yeah, so anyway, there's the link right there between the triple heater and the gallbladder in terms of the meridians. And of course, the thing is, as you probably know already, but I'll mention it anyway, 75% of Masnaga's meridian extensions follow the 6 divisions anyway. So you'll notice that when you work the gallbladder meridian on the arm, for example, it's right next to the triple heater. And the triple heater is definitely in the zone of the gallbladder meridian, not too far away from the gallbladder meridian on the leg. So they pal up. Although actually I was thinking also, and I've been thinking a lot about this recently, I was thinking about the back diagnostic areas, and you've got gallbladder, triple heater, they mirror each other. They mirror each other on the back. And of course...
And they run together across the top of the back of the shoulder, right beside each other.
That's right. So there are a lot of connections sort of in the way it's all laid out. Anyway, it just goes on and on. It's all so fascinating. Okay, we've only got 5 minutes left, so it's time for me to tell you a little bit about the online course, what it's like.
Have you got any questions?
Yeah, if you've got any questions, please just type them in, and I'll just as I go through this, and we'll Okay, here's what an online course is like. If you haven't done one with us already, they are asynchronous. Whoa, what does that mean? Okay, asynchronous means that you can access the material at any time, which is just as well, really, because we have people from all over the world, Australia, South America, and so we have them as asynchronous. You can access at all time, and we mainly interact through forums. What happens is you can access the resources, including video, and we've shot a load of video. We spent a day recording, I think we've got about an hour of new video that I'm going to edit down for this course. And we use audio and video a lot on the course. What we do is we give you an activity each week, so it's focused on you doing stuff with your clients, and then we give you support from the teachers on the course, Dinah and I, and also from your peers. And that's one of the biggest fun things, really. One of the big fun things, isn't it, is everyone finding out what everyone else is doing. That's one of the favourite things. It starts October the 1st for 5 weeks, so we've got a couple of weeks. It's £145 for everything. And Shakura tells me that we've only got 7 places left now because we already have 5 people sign up already. So if you do want to join us, then please, book as soon as possible. Okay.
I want to just chirp in here and say, those of you who haven't been on an online course before, you might think, ooh, it's not for me, I don't want to be on my computer. They are surprisingly, fantastically good fun. And you get all this extra time. Unlike a workshop, you've got a whole week to go away and practice the activities with your clients, so in the real world. And then you can write up your experiences or whatever the assignment is, the kind of your comments on the forum, and you get feedback and sharing. You learn from each other. So you can go, hey, this is what happened to me today, and da 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 da, and then 5 other people will be explaining what they think of that and what's happened to them, and it's very, very good fun. And we also create a kind of international, intergalactic key field, which is another surprising aspect of the course. You feel like you're all connected up. I really recommend them. They're more fun than you might think.
Yeah, we do really enjoy them, don't we? And this is
they're great.
And this is really exciting as well, because it's a little bit nerve-wracking because it's an all-new one. And, so,
Yes.
and actually, if you've been on a course before, you'll notice that I'm moving more towards using embedded videos, make it more friendly. So this is what the week 1 looks like so far, and all I've done is I've posted up the introductory video. So if you want to go onto the course, we'll give you a link to that, and you can go and have a look. And what I'll be doing in the next couple of weeks is I'll be editing the audio and more video and putting it all as links underneath here. So we're moving over to more and more video to make it even more friendly than it was before. So this is what it looks like. Oh yeah.
If we have a quick question from Bianca before we finish.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
So, is the triple heater also connected to the immune system?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Absolutely, yeah. Because it links with the lymphatic system, and also because it's supposed to be one of the outer layers of protection of the body, isn't it?
Yeah,
The interesting thing, of course, is Chinese wouldn't have known much about the lymphatic system directly because it's quite a quiet system. But the functions of it most of them are embedded in the triple heater function.
Yeah, it's a layer of protection, and Masanaga directly links it to the lymphatic system and therefore part of the body's immune response. So yeah, absolutely.
Right, okay, so, and also, if you happen to be in Norwich or around Norwich at any time during these dates, 8th of November, 7th of March next year, and the 9th of May, we've actually got three CPD days on exactly that theme. So I thought I'd mention that just in case you can find your way physically to Norwich. If you're in Australia, please don't make a day trip. It's probably too far. Okay, that's it. Great. We've got just 2 minutes left, and we can just ready to finish up, really. I don't know if there's anyone else. Any last questions?
Oh, Alison Grove says she likes the idea of the online course, but most of her clients are 4-legged.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that needn't stop her. There's no reason why you can't practice them. I don't see any reason why you couldn't practice and post up. We're very tolerant. We don't have any restrictions to what the clients like. So yeah, no, there's no reason why you can't. I mean, because all animals have the triple heater.
I've no doubt.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's a great idea. Get dogs.
Yeah, who's the dogs? Yeah, brilliant.
Great. I'd love to be involved with that. Yeah, no, join us, Alison. That'd be fun.
It would be a lot of fun. Yeah.
I was brought up with horses, I'll say. I've got a little bit of insight.
Yeah.
And Marina says a big thank you from across the channel.
Oh, great. Aww. Oh, great. Yeah, we didn't break down the European figure, did we? So we could be from anywhere.
Oh, I think she's from America, no?
No, Marina Ichikawa. No, she's in Spain or somewhere like that. Can't remember now. Marina, I should know. I'm so sorry.
Okay, well, thank you very much for all your posts about your 3-heater exercise, and thanks very much for taking part in this webinar. It's been great. Thank you for your response to the polls. It's been awesome, hasn't it? 100% every time.
Wonderful.
Very good. Yeah, a very fast response.
Tonight.
Everyone is definitely on it tonight. Obviously, you're all well rested after your summer break. Okay, well, it's just coming up to 8:30, so we better say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. See you soon.
Yes, you might. Please get in touch.
Your triple heater be harmonious.
And if you do want to get in touch with us, then please just go straight to NewEnergyWork.com, or you can always email Shakura at admin@newenergywork.com, or you can phone us here on telephone numbers on the site. It's 0044 1603 632 555, and we'd love to talk to you. Okay, thank you very much, and goodbye.
Bye.